As many of you are likely aware, I hope, I think, I don't know, this is not breaking news. This has been going on for a couple of weeks. But I hope some of you are aware, many of you. A number of states their legislatures have passed resolutions through the form of a bill reinforcing their authority under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. The 10th Amendment basically says all powers that are not expressly delegated to the federal government within the Constitution are reserved for the states and the people to carry out. So, if the Constitution does not say the federal government has the power to provide health care to all citizens, then unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, the federal government does not have the authority to provide health care to all of its citizens. Now, the state of Massachusetts can provide health care to all of its citizens. A number of states are doing this. I believe the number is 22. 22 states have either already passed this resolution, or the resolution, the bill, is still in process. It's in their legislature, their legislative process. And that's pretty amazing, actually. I mean, we've seen this growing tension between the states and our federal government, and I think personally it's stemming from massive taxation from the federal government, the power, this power to tax, and the money that they are spending, the money receiving from taxes, is not constitutional. The federal government is making many choices that they don't have the authority to make, and that the states should be making. For example, education. Where in the Constitution does it say that the federal government shall regulate education? It doesn't. And yet we have a Department of Education, the federal department. So I'm not sure what this is leading to, because let me read you my state of Texas. They have not yet passed this bill, but the text is online, and I'm going to read some of it to you here. It says, whereas the 10th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States reads as follows: the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So, whereas the 10th Amendment defines the total scope of federal power. So, they go on to say, the state of Texas hereby claims sovereignty under the 10th Amendment. I don't see that. The 10th Amendment does not necessarily allow states to claim sovereignty. I think it's within the context of, we have these powers that you are using without authority. You're using our powers without our permission, even though I wonder how that would work. Oh yeah, it would work. Permission would be a constitutional amendment. And I think it's within the context of, you need to get out of my way. We are sovereign in the respect that we have these powers and you don't. We are an individual state. But it's a little confusing because I don't think you can't, the text just doesn't allow for a state to claim an absolute form of sovereignty under the 10th Amendment. So I think that's really confusing to some people. If you read on in my bill, which I'll post a link to in the information box, it is resolved that this serve as a notice and demand to the federal government as our agent, meaning we, the state of Texas, along with the other states, created the federal government. So, as our agent, to cease and desist, effective immediately, mandates that are beyond the scope of these constitutionally delegated powers. Resolve that all compulsory federal legislation that directs states to comply under threat of civil or criminal penalties or sanctions, or that requires states to pass legislation or lose federal funding, be prohibited or repealed. That's pretty strong language. Cease and desist, an order, effective immediately. Now, how does that work? I mean, we have 22 states on track to do this. 22 states that have already done it or are on track to do this. We're not at a majority yet, but how does that work? How would that work? How would the state of Texas order the federal government, Congress in particular, because they are the federal legislature, to cease and desist? I mean, technically, I don't see the states. The states have the authority to do that under the 10th Amendment. It's a little tricky. The 10th Amendment gives states power. It doesn't necessarily say if power is taken away, then states can do something, or what method is for what they can do. I mean, Jefferson would have his own opinion on that, but, you know, if the government does not follow its own rules, gets out of control, then the people, the states, have the right to either change or abolish it. But that's not necessarily written into the Constitution in those exact words. So I'm curious to see where this is leading. 22 states. If a majority of states passes, and the federal government continues its behavior or even increases its behavior with our new president and our new federal legislature, it is my opinion that this behavior that the states are not liking will increase. What will happen between the states and the federal government? And what do these resolutions mean? These resolutions have very powerful language that the states are passing. But what exactly can they do? I'm not picturing much. I don't really think they can do anything. The only option that I can think of is use of force, which would not be good. I suppose the states can refuse all federal money, but what is that going to do? I mean, the laws passed by Congress, not all of the money goes directly to the states. Some of the money goes directly to institutions. So I don't know. This is something to keep your eye on, and this growing tension does worry me. But at the same time, I'm very happy that it's happening, because it is of my opinion also that the federal government has gotten out of control. It's expanded its authority. It's expanded its power outside of the scope of its original authority, the law of the land, the Constitution of the United States, and that really needs to be handled. And I love the mainstream media is covering this. Glenn Beck on Fox News is covering this, part of the mainstream media. Many articles on the internet. The internet is a fantastic source for this kind of stuff. So keep an eye on it, and I will too. And I will continue to provide commentary, because this is really interesting stuff. Like this does not happen all the time. 22 states is unbelievable. Anyway, that's it for now, but take care.